We are the student chapter of the Society of American Archivists. That's our parent organization, and many of you may have membership in that organization. We're affiliated, but as we're acting as a student group, the membership for us is through Canvas, and I'll show you that in a moment. So I'm going to click on this. Oh, I know what I do. There we go. All right, so about us, we have a number of functions. One is to promote archival interest with the iSchool. I think it's a way to reinforce what we're learning in our courses, but the main thing that I would say is with this is the professional connections. You can actually see what people are doing in the field. We do have online events. I'll talk about those. We have site tours, so I will be talking about those as well, but it's a way of engaging people. They actually, you know, whether you're just watching the webinar, but I've learned a lot from that. And also the other chapters, just anytime you have, you know, you can be in your pajamas, you know, you can be eating your ice cream or sipping a glass of wine. You know, no one's going to see you, but just the idea that you're, you know, you're listening and to what others are talking about, I learned a great deal from that. So yes, membership is free. When you join the parent organization, Society for American Archivists, there is a membership fee. But if you're a new student and when you do take Information Communities Info 200, you will get a free membership for a year. So take advantage of that. I was talking to Erin, and both of us were on the same page with that. When we first started in the iSchool, I took that 203 class. I was taking the 204 and 200, and the whole thing of, oh, you're going to have this opportunity to have a free membership, it kind of slipped from sight because there were so many things going on. But if there are you know, new people to the iSchool who you know, are just now taking Info 200 or will be, remember that you do have that free membership in any one of the associations that there are. So how to sign up as a member? It is so fast. If you know, you're on Canvas, just go. I try to just outline it here. So step one, you know, you got your courses listed, and one of them will be iSchool Advising and Administration. Select that one, and then it's going to have the same thing that you have for any of your courses. So you go down to People, click that, and when that opens, you're going to see Groups, and there will be a list of them. One of them, the one here, is ALA SC, and then just go down and you'll find our group, and that's it. Click the join. And what you can do, there are several groups, the ALA group, Special Libraries, Assist, First Generation, for students who are the first in their families to be in a graduate program. So join them all. That's what I would do. You'll get the announcements and know a little bit more about what they're doing. Let's go on. So our team, I'm not sure, I think a lot of us are here. So Ashley's here. She's oh, I put secretary, but she's now our acting vice chair, and she's the social media director. She leads the social media team. I was going to say a bit about everyone. So she's graduating this semester, and she works at the Beinecke Library at Yale. Skip over to Alyssa. Hi, Alyssa, I think you're here. Alyssa is, I think, planning to join. I'm going to get my information. I think she's in her second year. And I think she said yes, like me, spring 2021. She is currently the associate editor of our publication. I'll talk more about that. And she's also active in the leadership teams for the chapters for ASSIST, ALASC, as well as the first generation group that I spoke to you about. In addition to that, she works as an associate editor and content manager of HACC Library Schools. So that's Alyssa, and Marissa's here as well. Marissa's our blog editor. She currently works as a library assistant at the Mill Valley Public Library, where she manages and promotes the oral history program in the history room. And she is, well, I have this information last semester, Marissa. Are you at the Labor Archives now with that internship?
Yeah, I actually just got hired as a processing archivist.
Oh, okay.
For them, so.
All right. Then Danielle. Danielle is our event coordinator, and she's in her second to last semester and is going to graduate in fall 2020. She is interning, and I don't know, Danielle, this is current. Yes, it is. She's interning at the University of California, Irvine at the Science Library. Sorry. She's interested in the video game industry. She's the one who got us connected with Blizzard Entertainment. I'm going to have difficulty. I'm going to take a sip of water. So that's, and then we have Christine. Let me just, this is her second semester in the MLIS program. She has an educational background with a BA in English Language and Literature and an MS in Information Technology. And she was the editor of Inkstone magazine, the University of Virginia's Asian American Literary magazine. And we have Barbara. She is our webmaster. And let me see, she was born and raised in Los Angeles, currently lives in the Claremont area, and she works as a student affairs coordinator for a small private medical school. She plans to graduate in 2022. I was inspired because she has her picture here with a baby sloth. So I went and found a photo of me from long ago when I was on a bicycle ride in Tasmania, and this is a picture of me then, a little younger than I am now. And then Sabrina is our social media assistant. She's from Sacramento and expecting to graduate in spring 2021. She mentioned that her favorite class so far has been the history of the book with Dr. Main and Dr. Hansen. And I have to admit, I'm taking special collections now with Colleen Tyson, and it is such a fun class. It's about rare books and special collections. And it's the first class, I think, it's just fun. It doesn't feel like work at all. It's so much fun. So if you guys ever have a chance to take that. So I'm pretty sure I covered everybody. Now we are looking for a secretary for this semester. So it will only be for this spring semester. So just starting this month and then continuing until the end. And just to let you know a little bit about what the position entails, the secretary supports our events team. So that's with online events and site tours. Also promotes our membership, takes care of looking at the enrollment for membership and managing that. Maintains chapter archives. We're an archival association, so that's important. She records, or he, records minutes and posts video recordings. So if you are interested in this, send us a brief bio, just a couple of paragraphs really, and tell us about your interest in archives and why you're interested in joining the team. Our deadline is February 18th to submit your nomination, and you can nominate someone else, but I suggest you talk to them first. But yeah, nominate yourself if you're interested. We'd like to have you. So we are the team I introduced. We're here for the 2019-2020 academic year. So that means later this spring, we will be holding elections for the entire leadership team. I spoke a little bit about each position, who's in it now. The chair position acts as the executive director, kind of coordinating everything, scheduling the presentations as I'm doing now to welcome new members, encourage people to participate. The vice chairperson, sorry, again, I'm gonna take a sip. So the vice chair is the programming director. They're the main person responsible for planning and organizing the site tours, as well as the online events. And that position is supported, the executive director is very much involved with that, as well as the events coordinator. So there is a team for that. And then the secretary position is also the social media director. That's the person who would work with the social media assistant and the blog editor. And then we also have a position for webmaster. Barbara's in that right now, and it's a new initiative where we're taking, we now have a Weebly account. It's free, and that means that the features are very limited. So what we are doing, Barbara, is designing and setting up our new website that will be on the SJSU server in WordPress, and that will give us a lot more features. Our website will, definitely improve, and also that means that because we're on the SJSU server, then we'll have a lot more connections with the iSchool, where our blog will be on the blog page of the iSchool. So, why volunteer? Well, there's for many reasons, but Danielle, I mentioned, she has connected with someone at Blizzard Entertainment. And I asked Melissa when I was in touch with her, I said, well, because I knew she had been in student leadership. She'd actually been the vice chair and then the chair of the American Library Association chapter. So I asked her, so, did this help you in your career? And you can read what she said here, but definitely it did. The main thing, it really did impress her employers, and it gave them when you apply for jobs, one of the things you're asked for, whatever the qualifications and they expect for the duties of the job, you have to have demonstrated knowledge, demonstrated experience, and that's where the student chapter leadership comes in. For example, her experience coordinating events, managing people, and juggling tasks, demonstrated to the people she was interviewing with that she was very capable for those positions. So Ashley, I'm turning it over to you. Talk about social media.
Great. Can everyone hear me okay? Hello?
I hear you fine, yeah.
I can hear you. I
okay.
just happen to be on mute.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
So yeah, we have a couple different avenues that we publicize our events and related content to archives through SJSU. SAA student chapter. We have our Facebook group, which anyone can post. If anyone finds an interesting article or something that they're interested in or related to archives or a job opportunity that they're aware of, or an internship opportunity, anyone has rights to be able to publish on our Facebook group. And I'm sure many of you have seen the lovely posts that Kelli or Sabrina or Marissa or others have posted that highlight interesting and unique finds in the archival world and library world. We also have our Twitter page where we post material and advertise our events, but we also use that platform to live tweet events so we can kind of get engagement and ask questions and those type of things. We also follow like the Snap group through SAA and participate in their, I'm blanking on the term now, when they have their live tweets where they talk about issues in the archival field or like, you know, allow people to share their stories. We also have the website where we advertise events and Archeota, the publication that we put out. We also have the blog that Melissa is the editor for. And we also have our YouTube channel that we post our recorded events on as well. And I'll just provide the links. So if you're ever interested in getting involved in social media, we are always welcoming folks to come and, you know, share their passionate interests with us. And I think our team does a really great job. So I'm going to post those in the chat, the links, so you can follow us on social media if you aren't. I highly recommend that you do because you find information that you may not find other places, and it's a great place to connect and meet people and yeah, make this experience more interactive, being that a lot of us are all over the country pursuing the degree and are hooked up through San Jose State, but maybe from different areas. So, yeah.
Oh, thanks, Ashley. Yeah, that's a good point. We are all over the place. We do have quite a few in California, but we're spread out, and we have people from all over the states. Ashley, for example, is in Connecticut. So, oh, let me get this. There we go. So, site tours. So we're mentioning that we have people all over the states, and we've had people outside the states as well. So obviously site tours are limited in that respect because we're physically going to an archive. But we do have opportunities. Right now, most of them are in Southern California, and that's because that's where our leadership team is. But if you are somewhere else, you know, email me, ask about it. Maybe there's an archive that you want to visit. You know, it's going to be hard if you're not in a place where there could be more iSchool students, but give me your ideas. I'm always open to that. So on April 17th, we're going to visit Blizzard Entertainment in Irvine. There will be a long waiting list, I'm sure, for this. We have 15 spots, and I will be announcing that in mid to late March, and then we'll take for whoever registers. And that's why, with what Ashley was saying about following us on Facebook or Twitter, and also because, you know, going as I showed you with going on Canvas and just joining the membership, because then you're going to get the alerts, not from the iSchool, but directly from us. I'm probably not going to, the Blizzard Entertainment, that will be open to our membership. And we have 15 spaces, so I know that we will have a waiting list. What we do is we take your registration information, and then we have a drawing for that. It's kind of a lottery. And then what we will do is communicate with everyone leading up to the date. And if anyone, you know, has to drop out for some reason, then we're going to be contacting the person on the waiting list. And maybe that's just the day before, but we'll have to see. The other thing that we will do this semester is visit the Huntington Library. That's near Pasadena. You may not know San Marino, so it's in the LA, Pasadena area. We go there every semester, so that's a regular thing. Sorry, I'm going to close my office door. And we are looking into other site tours. I'm not going to mention them until I actually have a firm commitment for those. So online events, this is where we serve everyone who's in the program. We normally schedule our webinars, say Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday evenings, as we're doing tonight, because that seems to be the most convenient. Any time, again, we're on different time zones, so 6 to 7 p.m. is kind of our latest that we do, because that means, for Ashley, for example, it's going to be between 9 and 10 p.m. So these are panel discussions and webinars where we meet professionals in the field. Last semester, we had Carly Lowe. She's the first university archivist for SJSU as a whole, not the iSchool as such, all of SJSU. And I don't know how familiar everyone is with archives, but what I learned, and I did not know this before becoming, part of the leadership team, is that, and also taking Info 256. That's the records and archives class. It's kind of the introductory one. And I didn't understand. I thought of archives as special collections, rare books. That was my limited knowledge of archives. And then I discovered in that class, and that is my dog scratching at the door. One moment. So there's a lot more to archives. Institutional memory. So what Carly does is she is the documentation of the university as such, whether it's different departments and so on. And then I'm going to move forward. Later this month, we're going to have a writing opportunities webinar. I mentioned that I first got involved and really started to know something about the chapter was when I saw the Archiota submission announcement, and I had encountered something really interesting, I thought, about archives. And I decided, I'll write something about that. And I'm going to go back to what Melissa had said about being a volunteer and being a member of leadership committees for the student chapters. Equally as important as that with your career development and what you're able to tell an employer about what qualifications you have. Again, they're looking for demonstrated knowledge, demonstrated experience, and you can do that in many different ways while you're in the iSchool. And one of them is to take advantage of writing opportunities, whatever those may be, and they're different. We'll be discussing them in this webinar. So the information is there. The Zoom links are on our website. We post them on Facebook, and we have Lori Putnam. She's the faculty advisor for the LIS Publications Wiki. And then Anne, and I don't know how to pronounce her name, A.G., I'm going to say, that's probably wrong. She's the faculty director of collections and scholarly communications, and she is the director of Scholar Works. So we will learn more about those. And our own publication is Archiota. I mentioned it. Our Archiota is for students by students. So I am working this year with Lissa Key and Christine Mahoney. We published our first issue together. in fall. It came out in December. I'm going to, I encourage all of you to give it some thought, whether you'd like to contribute. These are not scholarly articles. These are more of a magazine level, where, you know, kind of, if you go from, say, a blog to that kind of, that type of writing, and, you know, as very, you know, fairly casual, but can be very informative. And then we're kind of, the next step was, you know, think pieces and things like that, a magazine type article. And then the student research journal, which is for research articles. Another thing we'll be discussing in the webinar I mentioned. So I'm just going to go over the contents of this past issue, because it gives you an idea of what we publish, and then it also gives you an idea of, well, what could I, you know, maybe I could write an article. And this way you get an idea of the kinds of articles we publish. So this article, Artists' Lives Through Their Pets, was written by our very own Ashley Cale. And I mentioned she works at the Beinecke Library at Yale, and she got involved with an archival project. And the archives were related, the collection was that of Saul Steinberg. And so he's, you know, a renowned cartoonist, writer, illustrator. And, you know, we know that the attention is placed on certain people and other people's stories get overlooked. And this is a story that she encountered of someone who was involved, I guess, with this man, but, you know, kind of as a peripheral person, someone's story that you wouldn't necessarily know. And Ashley found a personal connection with Spaeth and her, you know, her cat, and all of her anguish that was expressed in her diaries and other materials. So, and the other article that is an article that Alyssa wrote about Angela Osborne. She's the first recipient of the Pinkett Student of Color Award. So that was very interesting to learn about that. And the Redwood Library. So Rachel Griggs, she graduated last semester, and she got a job with the Redwood Library. As you can see here, the institution is over 270 years old. And she was really the first person to, you know, dig into the archives there. And, you know, there were basements full of stuff, a lot of stuff. And it's a very interesting story. This, I referred to it, I wrote an article in the spring issue. It was about slave daguerreotypes that are held by Harvard University. And a woman lodged a lawsuit against the university. She traced her genealogy, and the people this father and daughter who are depicted in these photographs are her relatives. And Harvard really kind of just shut it. They didn't even communicate with her. They didn't want to engage at all. So she didn't first file a lawsuit in order to claim ownership. I don't think that would have happened if Harvard had just engaged with her and kind of acknowledged that these were Tamara's relatives. So I kind of did a follow-up here where after I'd written the article in June, following that spring, the relatives of the man who was responsible for these photographs, who was a promoter of white supremacy, they wrote an article, or they wrote an open letter to Harvard demanding that Harvard acknowledge her claim and return the photographs. So this is an interesting situation. I don't know how many of you know, but the Newseum, the Museum of Journalism in Washington, D.C. closed in December. So Christine wrote a really interesting think piece about the loss of the Newseum and what it means for journalism. And then Marissa wrote about pop culture and how archives and archivists are portrayed in pop culture. And Greta Snyder wrote about archiving Twitter. She looked at, the effort that was made to archive Twitter, and then the idea of, what is archive? When you have something as billions and billions of Twitter posts, then, how do you even begin to archive Twitter, and do you, and how you would do that? The other article that we have, which is a continuing one, we're going to continue doing this, is just creating a top 10 list, a different one for each issue. So this was a top 10 list of unusual archives. So I want to talk a little bit about our parent organization. I really recommend that you do join as a member. There are a lot of benefits to that. It was founded in 1936, and I mentioned that article that Alyssa wrote about Angela Osborne and receiving the Pinkett Award. Pinkett was actually the first African-American president of the SAA. So the benefits of membership, you can look at their website. And one thing that happened when I joined is that I got an email from someone who was on the outreach committee for the SAA. And that was really nice. She was someone, I think, who, I live in Van Nuys in LA, and she works at the CSUN. In fact, let me see. Yeah, one of our top 10 list, the number 10 was the International Guitar Research Archives, and that's the one that she works for. So it's nice to have someone to contact and ask questions of. So it is $55 per year for membership. However, I've mentioned several times already, you do get 1 year free when you're in Info 200 or Mara 200. So I would say get in touch and stay in touch. There are a lot of reasons to do that. I'm sure many of you, if you're around here, would really love to be able to visit Blizzard and the Huntington. Other site tours we will be planning. And then the online events. And really, when I'm planning those and we're planning them together, I want to make them relevant and useful to students. That's why we're taking that opportunity. So anyone, again, if you have any ideas, reach out, get in touch. You can get in touch by email, and then follow us. I think Facebook is the main outlet for us to post information, and we do post scholarship information. I often get notices through the group's email about scholarships and the deadlines for those and what they're about, and anytime I get that, I will post it on our Facebook page. I also, because I'm an SAA member, I get alerts from, they have a newsletter, and actually I think it's daily, they have some information coming through. And if there's anything that I think that would be, useful for our members, I will post it as in scholarship opportunities. And as well on Facebook, we're posting just interesting things about archives.